Please start, Soumya.
So 1 minute. The streaming what I have got from Savita ma'am, that streaming is for pharmacology. So it's streaming something else. So just give me a moment. I will try to get the new streaming link from Savita ma'am.
Soumya.
Yes, sir.
Start.
Sir, what link Mahesh Chauta sir has mailed me, that is showing the link for, I'll just show you. Pharmacology webinar. Streaming that. So they have given me some password and links.
Kids are watching that on YouTube.
What are they watching?
They said it's the same. Hey, Sarah.
So just a moment. What are they watching? They're watching this maybe. What is that? Can you call Savita ma'am? We are starting. Good morning, everyone. Institution Innovation Council of Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy has taken up the initiative to organize a webinar on ideation, creation, and protecting intellectual property with patent perspective in healthcare. On this occasion, I, Dr. Soumya Srivastava, Institution Innovation Council Coordinator, welcomes all of you. Thank you all for joining in. I request our principal, Professor Dr. Nanesh Kumar KU, to kindly welcome the gathering.
A very good morning and warm welcome to the esteemed excellencies and the other participants who are in the webinar. We are very happy to announce the one more initiative on ideation, creation, and protective IP with the patient perspective in healthcare. Yet another intellectual property right IPR initiative in association with the Nitte deemed to be university in innovative the institutional the IIC council. We are very privileged and happy that our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, sir, is thus with us for his opening remarks. And we are also that whenever we have such initiatives in offline or an online or any kind of a blended mode initiative, we get the maximum inputs and we get the directives on the for the productive the impact by the Honorable Vice Chancellor. We are very much privileged to have such a person. On behalf of the Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy, the Innovation Council, and on behalf of Nitte deemed to be university, the IIC, I extend a hearty welcome to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, sir, for this the webinar on ideation, creation, and protecting IP with patient perspective. We have yet another very proactive, the president of the institutional, the Innovation Council of the at university level functioning, Dr. Sriniketan sir, who is always very proactive and have several events on this kind of areas, these kind of arenas, and yet exploring the unexplored areas and from moving from the known to the unknown, exploring that kind of a creativity and that kind of a support is always given to our institute coordination IIC also. On behalf of the Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy IIC and on behalf of the university, I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Sriniketan sir for this webinar. We also have today's resource person, a very important resource person who had excelled and have a lot of ideas and a lot of the scientific excellence and knowledge. This is Pramodini Dange, who is from the assistant professor from the Simhagad Institute of Business Administration and Research, Pune, who is going to share your expertise on the topic of today's title on the webinar. Definitely, we believe and we hope that this program will be a brainstorming webinar for this weekend. On behalf of the Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy on Nitte deemed to be university, we welcome you to this webinar, Ms. Pramodini Dange, ma'am. And we also have the very proactive and initiative, our own the internal faculty, Dr. Soumya Srivastav, who has been constantly active and involvement with the faculty development programs and the institutional innovation council programs and the internal quality assurance cell programs. A lot of the initiatives are taking place in various areas. So it is also our privilege to have such proactive faculties. On behalf of Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy and behalf of our entire university team, I also welcome the coordinator of Institutional Innovation Council, Dr. Soumya, to this gathering, and also welcome our all participants who are watching this live stream and all my students, beloved students who are watching this on this particular session for this gathering morning. I once again express my sincere welcome to all the people, all the participants, all the spectators and audience in this live webinar session. And once again, we welcome all the people who have actively assisted and passively involved at the university technical level from information cell, Mr. Mahesh Chauta, Mr. Savita, all the people, we welcome you to this gathering. And thank you all for once again for this, and stay tuned with this particular webinar and have a great weekend, and Jai Hind. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, sir, to kindly deliver the opening remarks.
Good morning, esteemed guest for the day, Mrs. Pramodini Dange, Assistant Professor in SIBAR, Pune, the President of the Institution Innovation Council of the University, Dr. Sriniketan, Principal Dr. Danish Kumar, and the architect of this particular program, Soumya Srivastav, the Institutional Innovation Council of the Physiotherapy College coordinator, and all the participants in this very interesting webinar on ideation, creation, and protecting intellectual property with the patent perspective in healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to be part of this webinar. As you all know, this is very, very interesting and very important because in our university is giving a lot of importance to intellectual property right and patent. I should congratulate the Physiotherapy College for selecting this topic, ideation, creation, and protecting intellectual property. As you all know, we have got more than 1,000 universities in the country and more than 50,000 colleges. Definitely, we are able to create a very large knowledge society. But what we are lacking is converting this knowledge into wisdom and innovation and intellectual property and entrepreneurship. I always believe that university should foster critical thinking, creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship in the campus. Then only we can become globally relevant. Quality higher education also must concentrate on developing good, thoughtful and well-rounded, creative individuals. That's very, very important. In this perspective, this particular webinar is very, very important and very, very relevant. Our aim is also from the university to create awareness about intellectual property right. In this regard, we have created a lot of activity. I should congratulate the president of the Institution Innovation Council, Professor Sriniketan, for doing wonderful programs in the campus from the university, particularly create awareness about intellectual property right. We had several programs. We had hackathon on healthcare because as you all know, healthcare is going to be one of the very important areas in intellectual property because I understand it's going to be a $10 trillion sector in the world, and naturally the relevance of intellectual property patenting is going to be very, very important. As you all know, we are importing more than 80% of the medical devices from abroad. It's a 30 billion industry, I understand. It's going to increase because there is a growth of 20% every year that you can imagine. No industry is growing at the rate of 20% per year. So healthcare sector, healthcare devices, and naturally idea innovation in the area of healthcare sector is going to be a major thrust area for making India Atmanirbhar Bharat. As you all know, the government of India is giving a lot of importance for startups, innovation, entrepreneurship. We want to create more job givers than job seekers. So I think with that, naturally, university should put a lot of effort in creating ideas in the campus. Ideas should be converted into protocols or it should be converted into startups. So the scope is very, very wide. And with that background, I think this particular webinar is very, very interesting because I understand the innovation in medical healthcare technologies. It is a high risk area also, and it has got economic and regulatory challenges. I think that should be addressed by people like Pramodini Dange. But unless people like her educate us about what are the regulatory challenges and what are the economic implications of this intellectual property and converting it into idea and prototype and industry, naturally, it's very, very difficult. And we should have people like her coming and addressing our faculty and students, and creating awareness in the campus is very, very important. Therefore, this discussion is going to be very, very interesting. And I hope this webinar will be very informative, and our students and faculty will gain out of this very interesting webinar. Once again, I congratulate Professor Danish Kumar, very dynamic, the Dean of the Physiotherapy College, and Soumya Srivastav, and my colleague Sriniketan for taking a lot of effort in creating awareness in the campus regarding intellectual property. I hope the faculty of Physiotherapy College who are participating in this particular program, and also the students who are participating will gain out of this particular interesting webinar. Wish you all the best. May God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Now I take the privilege and pleasure in introducing our today's speaker, Ms. Pramodini Dange, Assistant Professor, Singhar Institute of Business Administration and Research, Pune. She is a scholar in Department of Science and Technology, DST, Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, TIFAC, KIRAN-IPR. Ms. Pramodini Dange has more than 18 years of experience in academics. As a TIFAC scholar, women scientist, she has obtained training in intellectual property rights at CSIR UIDRP, Pune. She has been featured in 75 success stories of women scientists released by Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, DST Government of India. She serves as a resource person for the various FDPs, workshops, seminars on intellectual property rights at different institutes. She has knowledge of intellectual property rights as TIFAC Fellow through projects, case studies and presentations, software-related inventions, landscape reports, technology scan reports, online WIPO courses, knowledge of patentability, commercialization of patents, FTO, legal contracts, technology transfer, and different IP databases. She has 14 published papers in reputed journals, and her research interests are applications of eye tracking technology and patenting software-related inventions. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sami.
We can have the session, ma'am.
So, first of all, I would like to thank respected Dr. Bhandari Sir, Vice Chancellor of Nitte University, Dean Dr. Dange Kumar, IIC President Dr. Sriniketan Sir, and Dr. Soumya, all of you being very nice to me for my introduction. I'm a very small person in intellectual property, right? And I try to share whatever little knowledge I have with you all. So, so you all are very, really very visionary leaders, and I'm fortunate that I have associated with you in this regard. So, thank you so much, all of you, for giving me such an opportunity to be in front of you. So, good morning, all the respected dignitaries and dear participants. So, we will start with our today's webinar on ideation, creation, and protecting IP with a patent perspective in healthcare. So my outline of the webinar is, we will have first why we should have intellectual property, and if we have intellectual property, what are the ways that I can protect it with, and what are the rights that I get when I have intellectual property. Then what kinds of intellectual property we can have, different forms with their terms, that if I register a particular intellectual property, for how long I can enjoy the rights related to that, and then how to ideate or create a particular intellectual property, and then what are the means to protect. So as Dr. Soumya mentioned, I'm always thankful to TIFAC for being featured in 75 success stories which are released from Government of India. So always I say that there are three aspects when we own a IP. Those are, first is whenever we want an intellectual property, we wish it to be a monopoly. So first aspect of intellectual property is we want to establish the monopoly. Second, to stop others from using your work without your own consent. And third, to monetize your work for commercialization. So as you can see the three images over here, we know the stories behind all these three images. The first is that the one of the seven wonders, the Taj Mahal. When it was built, the monarch cut the hands of the masons. Why? Because he wanted to have the one and only unique monument. He didn't want the other person to build the same. This is the idea when we are talking about intellectual property. We want to establish the uniqueness. We want to establish the monopoly. Right. So the second aspect, the second story of Eklavya and Dronacharya, all of us know. Dronacharya got the right hand thumb from Eklavya just to stop because he was using his skills without his guru's consent. Eklavya was using his guru's skills without his consent. So any infringer who is not giving consent, proper consent from you, then that person is liable to penalty. And the third aspect is that whatever property, intellectual property you have, if you have intellectual property, you get it registered, you get it protected so that you can enjoy the monopoly and monetary benefits from that property. For example, all of us know that Vishwa Bharati University was solely run on the royalty gained by the Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's work. And this too, these monetary rights were enjoyed by the university after 60 years, till 60 years after the death of Nobel laureate Gurudev Shri Rabindranath Tagore. So these are the three important stories that always we should keep in mind, that whenever you have a unique idea in your mind, don't put that idea as an idea only. Get it implemented on a tangible form so that you can protect it from the infringers as well as you can have long-term benefits of your intellectual property. So with these opening remarks, when we have an intellectual property, intellectual means the creation of human mind. So whatever we are thinking, every second we have enormous thoughts, which are very fruitful, but in the mundane tasks, they get behind. So now once we are getting aware of what is intellectual property, so whatever intellect we are creating, we are going to create property out of it. And whenever we have intellectual property, every country, every nation has heritage, different ways to protect the creation of human mind in different ways. For example, we used to recite shlokas. From the ancient times, we are reciting the shlokas and the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads. So all those are protected just because of this creation of human mind. We translated it, we transferred the intellect from one mind to other mind without changing. Because whenever we were reciting this Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshana Yogo Nam Ekadashodhyaya. This a single line of our heritage discusses every aspect of that chapter. That it was the 11th chapter, Ekadashodhyaya. Vishwarup Darshan, what that chapter describes, it describes the Vishwarup Darshan. It is the discussion between two Guru and Shishya, Shri Krishna and Arjun. So these are what the ways we use to protect our intellectual property. Then later it came, different laws and acts came into existence to protect the creation of human minds. And upon all these things, we have ethics and morals. If I am using someone else's work, I should give a proper credit. So I should always maintain ethics and morals among us so that a happy sharing of knowledge will be there. Now, for identification. Now, our topic is identification of intellectual property. So, how to identify an intellectual property? Now, those who are live can type in on the chat box that what you can understand. Like as we see that the single statement gave us information about who said to whom, when, how, and what in which chapter. Likewise, this is also a what we can say a know-how of a patent. The patent number is US 5255452A, which is a US patent, which describes it's a US patent, which says method and means for creating anti-gravity illusion. Can anyone type what comes in your mind when you read this? Method and means for creating anti-gravity illusion. Any answer? Okay, so this method and means for creating anti-gravity illusion is an invention by the legendary Michael Jackson, who was famous for his unique style of dancing. So, being a singer, being a dancer, he was able to conceive an invention in the form of a shoe. This patent describes a special type of shoe. Okay, so though he was a singer, he was a dancer, but he was an inventor too for this special kind of shoe. Why he invented this shoe? Because he wanted to have an appearance that when the wearer bends up by wearing these shoes, we have an illusion that we have an image of that particular wearer, that he has bent up to 45 degrees with straight spine. Okay, so this is whatever idea you have, whatever you are doing, but you can think of the unique thing that you can give to the world. So he didn't keep that idea only, he invented that particular shoe along with other inventors, and we have this product in the market. So who are the users? The user who want to show the illusion like bending with a straight line. So this happens. So whenever you have an idea, you can express it, you can give it a tangible form, and you can enjoy the rights over that particular product. Another, how to identify intellectual property around us. This another patent tells about system for indicating movement of an article from one position or orientation to another position or orientation. Can any discussing about? See, the data, the information is already there. We just need to have identification, that how we are going to identify IP. The things are very small. The ideas are very small, but if you give it a tangible form, it can make wonders. So this patent discusses about the illuminating stumps and bells. The simple technology the inventor used, this concept was by Bront Eckermann, but who is a Australian mechanical designer, but who had this idea of illuminating stumps and bells so that the umpire can get a quick and accurate decision by looking at. So what this technology used, it used simple sensors and LEDs only, but he got popularity for this particular stumps. You might have seen, the cricket lovers might have seen this technology. It was first used in T20 World Cup 2014. So this way, we have ideas around us, we have solutions around us, but we should convert that idea into a tangible form. So that is identification of IP around us. Now we will have a case study that for the tangible form, first you should identify that what kind of problem you want to solve. Okay, the Michael Jackson wanted to solve the problem of illusion by wearing the shoes. Okay, so first you have to identify the IP strategy, that in which domain you want to work on. Like you all are physiotherapy professionals, so you may be interested in medical devices, testing devices. So you should identify that what are the domains where you can invest your creativity and give a world a very useful product. okay, or process. So first you should identify. Then once you identify your intellectual property, then you should mention it in a tangible form so that it can be protected. Why do we protect the intellectual property? Because you want to have your name for that particular unique idea, so that when you protect it, you are able to freely monetize your invention according to your own ideas and marketing strategies. And when you do all these three things, then only when you register your intellectual property for protection, then only you are able to enforce your rights that are conferred with your intellectual property. You are able to enforce your rights if someone is infringing on your products. So, for example, if we consider IP in world of sports, for example, shoes. So IP lies in every opportunity. So if you want to use it in your domain, for example, physiotherapy devices, how you can use it. So when we look at a particular product, several IP rights are inferred into a single product. For example, in case of this sports shoes, the technology used to develop the shoe can be protected with the help of patents. The appearance, the design of the ornamental appearance, the attractive appearance of the shoe can be protected with the help of designs. Yes, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
So, trademarks distinguish your shoes products from similar other products and thus builds a brand for you. And if you are marketing you are publicizing your product through some audiovisual creation or artwork, then that work can be protected under copyright. So why India should think of inventions, creativity, patents? So this is the data published in April 2022. This is the recent data that the prolific inventors from India, USPTO published 200 prolific inventors. Out of that, most of the prolific inventors, the top patentees, are from India. And they are basically from the top engineering and IIT colleges of India. So, Gurtesh Singh Sandhu, who is associated with Micron, having the most patents, that is 1,375 patents. So a single person can have such huge amount of patent portfolio. So we are at very start that if everyone from us, if start thinking like a creator, like an inventor, then we also can have can be associated with the top brands of your own domain. So coming to the overview of intellectual property rights, we are not only the factories who are producing the students and with beautiful marks, huge marks, but we are the universities and the institutions which are responsible for the India's knowledge economy. So intellectual property, when we add the intellectual property mechanism into universities, we come to know that whatever little idea I have, I am here to share with others so that I can contribute to generation of new knowledge and thus adding in the economic sector too. Now also we are rapidly transforming into a knowledge-based economy. So we should always respect and protect the intellectual capital of every individual. Okay, and when this happens nowadays, we are getting more and more familiar, like with the terms like patents, copyright, trademarks, etc. So these have become a part of our vocabulary now, and we are definitely going to contribute. We will definitely be contributing to the nature and trade of commerce that we are facing. So how this IP is used in academics. So minimum safeguards are to be ensured to the rights of right authors of the inventors or creations. So once if you get a creation protected, rewarded, definitely you will be sharing it with others. And thus, all these keystones of progresses will give a very economic and beautiful social development. Okay, so totally this development of our society depends on creativity. So new technologies, new information creation, new knowledge economy, all these outcomes of the research in today's healthcare, uh, you all might have are aware of that how these new treatment methods, new medicines, medical devices, day by day they are getting more and more innovative ideas and innovations into this healthcare products. So what I get when I patent? So I get a certificate like this. If I have an idea how that is to be protected, that we will discuss later. But what I can get, how my creativity gets rewarded. So when I create something, I protect it, then I get a patent certificate like this, which I can enjoy 20 years of this monopoly over my invention from the date of priority. So coming to different forms of intellectual property, as all of you know that intellectual property is nothing but creation of human mind. It may be any invention, it may be any literary work, artistic work, symbols, names. So all these things are nothing but your intellectual property. So as you own, you or your neighbor, you or your family members own a house, like you have a flat or a land, you register it with the boundaries, or you can use your own way. If you have a flat, you may keep it blank, or you can give it on rent, or you can sell it. In the same way, you can have enjoy your intellectual property rights. So, often I say that intellectual property is intangible, means it is a creation of human mind. But for for you to enjoy the rights, you should give it on a tangible form or a fixed medium paper. Okay. So coming to different forms of intellectual property rights. So when you look at your mobile phone, a single product is filled with multiple IPRs. How? Because the functionality of a particular device is protected under patents. The literary artistic work is protected under copyright. The the logos, the symbols that you use to market your product are protected under trademark, and the ornamental appearance of the device is protected under designs. So can you identify what are the different intellectual property mentioned in this image? So in the first image, you have a know-how about a metro or a robo or a drone. So these are nothing but the technological inventions which are protected under patents. These are the logos and symbols protected under trademark. The literary and dramatic work protected under copyright. The ornamental design, appearance of a product protected under design. The layout design of ICs, integrated circuit, which is more to engineering, is protected under layout designs of integrated circuit. And these Kolhapuri chappal are the example of geographical indications. So one by one we will see all these forms of IP. So as we have seen earlier examples, a patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. That invention may be a product or a process which provides a new way of doing something, or it offers a new technical solution, a technical advancement over solution to a problem. Okay. So how to get a patent? To get a patent, you have to disclose the technical information about the invention to the public through a patent application. So when you get the patent granted, you can enjoy the rights for your patent for a term of 20 years from the date of filings. Now coming to copyright, all the literary, dramatic, musical, artistic or any creative work, it can be protected under the copyright. So when you have a copyright, basically copyright is automatic. When you write something, the copyright is with you naturally. If you click a photograph, the photograph is copyrighted with the person who is clicking the photograph, not the person whose photograph is clicked. Okay. So what happens when we have a copyright? So it gives the creator the exclusive right to control how the work is to be published, reproduced, performed, or displayed. What is the term of the copyright? The term of a copyrighted work is lifetime of the author plus 60 years. Now, what are industrial designs? So whatever ornamental appearance you have to any product or any article of manufacture, either in 2-dimensional or in 3-dimensional or in both the forms, you can protect that ornamental appearance of the article through a industrial design. Okay? So whatever new or original design you have designed a new chair for a person who needs a particular bending or what we can say, the appearance of that particular chair you can protect through the industrial design. So what are the features? Designs are features of shape, configuration, pattern, or ornament. So the protection for design is only for the appearance of the article, not for the functionality. For functionality, we go for patents. And when we register a particular design, the protection is for 10 years and which can be extended for another 5 years of terms. Next is trademarks. So whatever trade or commercialization in the marketplace places uses, we use a term called trademark that uses distinctive words, names, symbols, logos to distinguish your product or service from those of the others. The term of trademark is generally 10 years, but which can be renewed every 10 years in perpetuity. As long as you are filing 10 years, you can enjoy the rights over your trademark. Now, next important intellectual property is geographical indication. So, geographical means the product or process used to identify agricultural or manufactured goods originating from a definite territory of India. For example, Nagpur Santra, Darjeeling tea, Kanchipuram sari, Kolhapuri chappal, Alfonso mango, Bikaneri bhujia, Mysore sandal. These are all examples of geographical indications. Now, what is your role over here? You should identify the uniqueness from that particular territory, and you can file a geographical indication for a particular natural product or a product based on that particular climatic or production characteristics that are unique to the geographical location. Now next is layout designs of integrated circuits. So when you have a unique design, unique feature that you can apply through a integrated circuit, you can register it with layout designs of integrated circuit. Why we are discussing this? Because whenever you are manufacturing any device, medical device, then you should be able to use all these things. You can incorporate all these things into a product. Means always a single product is not only a patent only. You can have layout designs of IC integrated with that particular patent also. Okay. So these are the layout designs. So this registry is to be done through sicldr.gov.in. This is the website where you can apply for integrated circuit layout design. To register this layout design, you should have originality, distinctiveness, and you should be able to distinguish between your design and the other layout design. And it should not be commercially used anywhere in India. Then is the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right Act 2001. So this act provides the rights for farmers and plant breeders. This is also a type of intellectual property. So related to every intellectual property, you have a separate act. To enforce the rights related to patents, you have Patents Act 1970. For the copyright protection, you have the Copyrights Act 1957. For industrial designs, Designs Act 2000. For the Trademarks Act 1999, it protects the trademark related aspects. The GI of Goods Registration and Protections Act 1999 protects the geographical indications. The Semiconductor ICs Layout Designs Act 2000 protects layout designs of ICs, and the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right Act 2001 protects the plant varieties. Now, what is IP and IPR? Having something in your mind is your intellectual property, but when you convert it with a commercial value, then it becomes your intellectual property. So to have an intellectual property, your idea, whatever is your idea, you should convert it into a tangible or fixed medium form. That your idea should have a construct format on either through a patent or a copyright. So that idea it should be implemented in some form of IP. Okay. So this is the website ipindia.gov.in, which takes care of all the IP related aspects, patents, designs, trademarks, and geographical indications. For layout designs, you have separate website. For copyright, you have separate website. And for layout designs of IC and plant varieties also, separate websites are used. Now, how to innovate? Now we have that human creation, human mind generates idea, but how those ideas should be innovative. So for an idea to be innovative, you don't have to be very what we can say a big thinker. A simple idea can also solve problems of so many people. For example, the SIM cards. When the complete shape, the rectangle shape was used, there was a confusion. Only a single cut at the end given a clarity to how many mobile users, how many SIM card users. That the simple clarity is an innovative idea. Confusion is overcome by a clarity, that how to use that. Another example is different forms of connectors. Now we are using C-type cables, that we don't have a confusion. Okay, so these are small innovative ideas which we can think of. Now, when we read hard, we think that it is an invention, but this is also invention. But it is not written in a hard language, so we don't consider it as an invention. But it is very important invention in India. But when we come to know about some disclosure, some chamber, it becomes a patent. So idea is the same, but it is disclosed. How it is disclosed to the world is important. Okay. What are the importance of patents in healthcare? So, and scientific literature is available in patents. Patents are a treasure repository of scientific inventions. Like we have seen now here, this is a scientific invention, but when it is written in such a language, it becomes a scientific invention. So you should understand the language of that scientific inventions. Now, why to study patents? That if you know a particular thing, you will not go to invent the same thing. If you have a medical device, you will not again invest in duplicating the same invention. You can have another way of research and development. You can have improvement over product, improvement over technology, and so that we can identify emerging technologies and emerging areas through the patent literature. Now see, there is no other field like healthcare who is experiencing so much transitions of the technology. This transition of technology from bulky, wired, invasive, small, large devices to small, wireless and portable devices. And digital era, we can say that everything is getting digitized. Everything is getting use of computer-aided diagnostic tools, sensor technologies. So these are nothing but the technologies that are helpful to you, healthcare professionals, so that you can monitor and you can control the patient's health and maintain the quality of their lives. Now, so this traditional care generally was taken care by nurses and few phone-based applications. But today, you can have a healthcare industry to lead in a totally different direction. So every healthcare provider is using the latest technology to improve the patient care. And this is sensor technology, this digital technology, artificial intelligence, these are coming into picture to monitor the patient's health by measuring their biological parameters in a very, what we can say, comfortable way. So coming to patenting in healthcare, the medical devices, all of you are the persons from healthcare only, so no need to tell you that what are the areas where you can have improvements in healthcare and you can have a patent portfolio in healthcare. So coming to this category only of medical devices, it includes so many devices such as diagnostic instruments, implantable devices, surgical tools, surgical suit equipments. So everywhere you have a patient monitoring devices, beds, sterilization hoods, lifts. Everywhere you can have an innovative idea and you can give a new product to the society. And as VC sir said that 80% of the medical devices we are relying on importing from other countries. So if everyone of us is sharing or is thinking in an innovative way that how we can contribute through patenting in healthcare, can lead to a very great medical device industry in India. Now, secondly, drug and food delivery devices and systems. So here also you have a, huge amount of innovative ideas that IV bags, tubing, patient feeding apparatus, assisted breathing equipments, uh, testing kits, monitoring equipments, stains, and many other. So these are all what I can say. We are discussing the domains where you may be interested in, and you can go into such a research that will give you a fruitful product that can lead to a startup idea or some new product to the country. Second, patenting in healthcare is possible with chemical products and pharmaceutical drugs. Inventions under this pharmaceuticals category include chemical compounds such as vitamins, compounds used to manufacture drugs, sterilization of tissues, and cleaning materials. There are some more complicated group of products such as pharmaceutical materials to treat infectious diseases, to treat physical conditions such as aging, chemical or hormonal imbalance, or insulin, medicine for high blood pressure, dementia. So these are all the categories of medical patenting or patenting in healthcare domain. One more emerging area in our country is healthcare with information technology. So patents from this from this area morely focus on streamlining the flow of medical history information, such as electronic medical health records, patient data, picture archiving, whatever medical imaging we are doing, the repository for that patient data picture archival, health information exchange systems, and web-based medical software applications. So you can collaborate with the computer professionals, you can collaborate with IT professionals, so that whatever tasks you are doing as a protocol, as a method of treatment, as a testing strategy, you can collaborate with particular domain experts, and you can take your research ahead towards patenting such kind of inventions. This category, healthcare in IT, these patents are the fastest growing category of medical patents recently, and it is definitely going to increase in the next future. The next category of patenting in healthcare is regenerative medicine, which includes the stem cell therapeutics. You might have such research areas at your university. As first thing, you should identify that what is your interest area, in which problem you want to work, and you want to find out the solution for that, and accordingly you can go further for the collaborations with the other interdisciplinary organizations, research organizations. Now, as we have seen that there are transitions. Now, there are patents for this device also, and there are patents for the advancements also. So, as VC sir also said in the morning, that India is the second most populated country, and the population size, according to the population size, the demand for medical services is also high. So we have a huge growth in such kind of requirements of satisfying the needs for this growth, and this continuously increasing demand for medical and physiotherapy devices, which can be used for diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment of various medical conditions. So you, as healthcare professionals, have a huge area to explore and to contribute through patenting and IP generation in this domain. So how is it possible that whatever work you are doing, either you are doing a fundamental work, or you are working on some improvement on existing thing, or you are finding a solution for any unsolved problem or an unaddressed issue, all these things, all the outcome of all these research can lead to a intellectual property of your organization, for your organization. Or if you are thinking of a different approach for solving the problem, like the BP apparatus was there was no need of a BP apparatus, but there was a need of a more accurate system, or no need to have a human intelligence to read the mercury level inside this analog BP apparatus. So that need was addressed, and a new product we got. Similarly, whatever problem you are working on, you can think of with a different approach, and you can get output a new intellectual property for your organization. So what are the benefits? Why there is a need that you people, the healthcare professionals, should study about the patenting and intellectual property. So when you have any technological advancement in whatever domain you are working on, if you have a patent for your invention, then you can stop others by making, using, or importing or selling your product without your consent, and you can earn royalty from your invention. So this is the main advantage of having an IP, that you can get, if you have a technological advance, go for patenting and enjoy the monopoly right, enjoy the monetary benefits from your invention, as well as you can have judicial system to help you protect your rights. Now, patenting in medical devices in India, basically, this is very, what we can say, demanding field in India, medical device patenting. But we have few objections under section 3I, 3F, and 3K, but we can overcome, and we can write patent for your product for a medical device. Now, why to do it? Because whatever invention we have to bring it to the market. So the medical device, the drug authority, the drug control authority of India, and MDR, these medical devices rules, all these are helping you all to come up with the new inventions into the Indian market. So why we need these specific purposes? For that, whatever devices we have discussed, we can have a single word you can work on, like diagnosis, how many possible devices are there, prevention, how many possible devices are there, for monitoring, for treatment. So if you consider a single word out of this, you can have new ideas for creating IP. And as I told you that there are these legislations that can help you protect in this patenting and intellectual property maintenance. And it is up to you that whether you want to keep your knowledge with you only, or if you want to disclose it with others. So if you want to keep it with you only, it remains with you. And if you disclose it with others through the proper intellectual property mechanism, many people can benefit. You can have scaling of your business, scaling of your ideas, you can get feedback, and you are what we can say rewarded to more and more inventions in near future. So my objectives of this presentation was to be in Creative India, Innovative India mission of Intellectual Property Right 2016 IPR Policy India, that to create public awareness about the economic, social and cultural benefits of IPRs among all the sections of society. Second objective is to stimulate the generation of IPRs. Third, to have a strong and effective IPR laws which will balance the interest of rights owners with larger public interest. To modernize the strengthen service-oriented IPR administration. And this important aspect is get value of your intellectual property through commercialization. Then to strengthen the enforcement and adjudicatory mechanisms for combating IPR infringements. If someone infringes on you, what are the enforcement actions that you can take? And lastly, to strengthen and expand human resources, institutions and capacities for teaching, training, research and skill building in IPRs. Now, what are the takeaways? In today's lecture, we have seen what are different categories of intellectual property, and for which kind of category we can have patents for new inventions, copyright for creative artistic work, trademarks for distinctive identification of products and services, industrial designs for external appearance, integrated circuit for designing topographics of ICs, geographical indications for unique characteristics from a particular territory of India, and trade secret. If you don't want to communicate with anyone, keep it as secret. Okay, so these are the takeaways, that how patenting can be done in healthcare, and what are the measures that we can take to strengthen intellectual property of the academic and research institutes or universities. These are my references that I used. And lastly, whatever direction we are using to go forward, everyone has the right to the protection of the moral and material interest resulting from any scientific, literary or artistic production of which he is the author, and everyone has the right to share in scientific advancements and its benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the brainstorming session. Dear participants, the session is now open for your queries. Ma'am, there's a question from Ankita Shetty from Kelly Institute. How to make use of a patent?
Okay. If you are a technical person for that related patent, for example, a dentist has a chair, needs a chair for examination of the patient, or whatever device he is using. So if that product is patented, And in India, you are not having that particular product, you are importing it. So how to make use of patent, that if you have the capability to manufacture that particular product, say for example, that dentist chair, then you can go to that patentee and you can get it licensed, license, and you can manufacture it on your own in India. So that is the use of patent. So if you import that chair from other country, then you have to pay hefty fees for that. If you have a capability to manufacture the same patented product in India, you can get it licensed. So that in that way you can make patents, make use of patents.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll wait for a few more queries, ma'am.
Any questions on the Soumya?
Sir, not yet. The one I have received, I've already asked. Maybe we can, I can check that later.
Okay.
So I now request Professor Dr. G. Sriniketan Sir, President of Institution Innovation Council, Nitte Dean to be University, to kindly deliver the presidential address.
Thank you, Dr. Soumya. Very good morning to all of you. Today we had the webinar on ideation, creation, protection of IPR in the healthcare sector. I'm very happy that we had a resourceful person, Madam Pramodini Dange from Pune. Thank you, Madam, for accepting our invitation and delivering this wonderful, informative lecture. First of all, I should thank our management for permitting us to conduct this webinar. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor for his opening remarks. Dr. Danesh Kumar, our very dynamic principal of Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy, for his welcome address and support to organize this lecture. The coordinator and of this program, I must thank Dr. Soumya Srivastava. This topic is of relevance because in the university sector, we are going on talking about IPR. IPR is a recent one for me because academicians, because I was 40 years in engineering field in NIT Surathkal, because this topic of IPR was not heard during my student days or in the thing. We used to freely talk about consultancy. We used to give our ideas to international consultants and so on. In 1995 only, when I was working with European people, they came to, they were talking to me about this protection of our intellectual property rights, how it will be useful. By that time, India has lost a lot of things, ideas, in terms of our basmati, in terms of turmeric. We can name so many things we have lost things. Anyway, today, a wonderful lecture, quite informative. Very simple, where she could bring out the differences from between patent, trademark, layout, design, and so on. And she also mentioned about how the universities are factories of knowledge economy, where she brought out several examples where our healthcare sector people can work on getting patents, getting protection of their ideas, and requirement is enormous, as our Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Madam has put it. This is a 10 trillion economy, they are saying. 80% is imported and 20% growth. The statistics shows that the doctors and engineers and others can contribute a lot in this field. In fact, I was brought here after my retirement from NIT Karnataka only to bring this synergy, multidisciplinary research work between engineers and doctors. To be frank, I have not gone ahead because the doctors are very, very busy. And when I talk about this research, innovation, IPR, still they have not woken up. The kind of thing healthcare in our university or most of the medical colleges in this area, we have 8 medical colleges and such an enormous facility ecosystem of entrepreneurship we have created. So I hope some days through these several webinars, healthcare professionals will wake up. There is a necessity. There is a way to do this. I owe my own experience, I will tell, because I was guiding a student recently, because as Madam has put it, it is in diagnosis, it is in drug delivery system, it is in therapy, several places where the healthcare people can work and in a creative, what she said, creative India and innovative India should come. Now, this was about synthesis of neosomes, because in tackling Alzheimer's disease, the doctors are giving overdose of medicine to overcome the resistance in the body. Before it reaches the brain barrier, it has to overcome the resistance, so they give overdose. So we were thinking how to overcome that because the knowledge was there about the targeted drug delivery system. And second, these patients will forget. So we went for transdermal, a patch on the backside, and also based on the signal, it can give the required concentration of drug to the brain. And the second challenge for us was to cross that membrane or barrier there. So we did some kind of camouflage, we were successful. Now, why I'm saying is still these doctors and the engineers, they have to work together. The kind of research what we do in engineering or chemical engineering field or other thing, the doctors have to cooperate in this multidisciplinary area, which is the important objective of new education policy also. The second one, I was talking to our pro-chancellor, who is a world-renowned orthopedician, Dr. Shantaram Shetty. So I asked him why engineer doctors are not very much involved in this kind of IPR, research, innovation. Two things I asked him, how we can reduce this foreign exchange problem because of the heavy import of our medical devices. He said, yes, Professor, we are very good in copying, because many of our things today are just copying, whether it is China, whether it is Korean or thing. But the problem is the material what we choose is not good in the sense that it is not having proper maintainability, or the performance wise, the durability wise is not performing. So the clinicians are not accepting this Indian thing because it's failing, and therefore still the import is going on. So there are things, as Madam has put it, either we can improve on the existing product, or we can have a different approach to the formation in terms of new material. Ultimately, we are working on what we call as affordable healthcare, and that direction today, Madam Pramodini Dange has given excellent presentation, and I hope she has provoked our young researchers here. Madam, for your information, we have Atal Incubation Center supported by our Niti Ayog, where we have incubated several people in Nitte, our own group. We have the DST Technology Enabling Center in this university. And I think we have the very good ecosystem for entrepreneurship. Recently, our university passed a startup policy also, where we want to encourage our faculty to start companies based on their ideas and prototypes and later companies. So I think our faculty and students have to take up and wake up fast, so that we can march towards what we call Atmanirbhar, Make in India, be an entrepreneur, be a creative Indian person. With these things, once again, I must thank Madam Pramodini Dange for her acceptance, for providing wonderful information through this webinar. Thank you, madam. At the same time, I also thank Dr. Soumya, Dr. Dange, and all the participants for their participation in today's webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So we have reached to the end of our informative and enriching webinar. I, Dr. Soumya Srivastav, Associate Professor, Nitte Institute of Physiotherapy, is pleased to extend the vote of thanks. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, for taking out his valuable time from his busy schedule, gracing this event with his presence, and motivating us with his thought-provoking words. Thank you, sir. I am truly beholden to our speaker, Ms. Pramodini Dange, for humbly accepting the invitation and rendering her time for today's webinar and making it successful. Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a highly informative webinar. We're really honored. I would like to thank our principal, Professor Dr. Danesh Kumar KU, for always rendering his support and inspiration. I now take the opportunity to thank the motivator and the backbone of the Institution Innovation Council, Professor Dr. G. Sriniketan sir, President IIC, for his constant support, ideas, and motivation. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my heartfelt appreciation and thanks to Ms. Sadhna Deshmukh, Director Staff Development, Ms. Supriya and Ms. Priya for their support and coordination in the preparation of the event. I appreciate and acknowledge the support and cooperation given by Ms. Vinutini, Nitte Dean to University. I also would like to thank Mr. Mahesh Chauta, Mrs. Savita IT Department for their prompt aid. I thank my colleagues and non-teaching faculty for always extending their help and support. I overall thank the entire governance of Nitte Dean to University for rendering their sole support. Lastly, I want to thank all the participants for attending the webinar and making it a success. Thank you all and have a great day.
So you have to announce that if they give the feedback, they'll get the things. Otherwise, they may not.
Yes,
Please
sir.
allow.
Yes. Okay. So we'll be sharing the feedback link soon. Please kindly give the feedback and you will be eligible to receive the e-certificates for this webinar.
One more information, Soumya Renita is there. So this our Jacinda is planning on 30th one thing at Paneer campus. I think some these 4 from this Shema side, you can think of giving some 5 to 10 minutes your version on entrepreneurship. So I will ask Jacinda to be in touch with Dr. Renita, Dr. Soumya, Dr. Sucheta. One more, I do not know who went for ambassador training. Maybe please prepare for 5 to 10 minutes because you will finish their formality there. And I will request Dr. Sucheta to organize for the Shema sector so that you have to finish some 2 things, I think. Okay? Oh, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.